Hello everybody, it's the Reverend Jay Goldstein, and welcome to another episode of Doodling with Reverend Jay. Today's episode, we're going to be drawing a brick wall. Now, a brick wall may sound like a simple object, but it's actually a smaller part of other larger objects you might want to draw. For instance, you might want to draw a castle, or a schoolhouse, or maybe you'd like to draw a really large brick wall. Well, to do that, you're going to have to be able to draw a brick wall, which we're going to do right now. Now, a brick wall, like any wall, is wall-shaped. So we're going to want to start with a large rectangle, something like that. The next thing we're going to want to do is create the rows for the bricks, because all of those are going to be even. So we'll make a couple of horizontal lines, and we'll try to be as even as possible. Because bricks are fairly standard. That's a brick joke, if anybody got that. My oven is preheated. That's always a good thing when you're trying to preheat your oven. Making chicken tonight. Should be good. So the next thing we want to do is we want to create the edges of all the bricks, which will actually create our brick pattern. Now, bricks are rectangle, and our bricks are going to be about that ratio, or that proportion. So what we will do then is we will make another line straight below it, but skipping a space, and then another below that. Then we're going to move over and do the same thing, another rectangle over. And we will repeat it again, all the way across our brick wall. And don't worry if this isn't perfect, especially if your brick wall has loads and loads of rows. It can look quite nice if the pattern is a little bit off, as ours will be, I guarantee it. The next thing we want to do is make the alternating rows by creating lines in between the lines we drew on the rows that we haven't drawn in yet. Just like I just did. And I'm doing again. Now, whenever possible, a good thing to do is to draw from up to down, because that's the way you have the most control over your pen. Now remember to keep this pattern going. You can see how very, very uneven my rows are now that we've got everything down. But that's okay. Just realize, it's your wall, your bricks, they can be however you want. Now it's nice to give your wall a little bit of dimension. What you can do is make a little diagonal line like that, and bring that down too. The next thing you want to do is match this diagonal line and connect all of these lines across. And that'll make it look like the ends of the bricks. A nice thing we can do at this point is draw a little bit of grass again at the bottom of this brick wall. Just like we did with the tree and the mushroom, this gives the brick wall a place to be. It's in the grass. You can even draw a little flower if you want by drawing a little line in a circle. You know how to draw this kind of flower already, probably. You've probably drawn tons of them. And, ta-da, we have a brick wall. If you've enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, the share button, subscribe to this channel. I'll be drawing many more things with you in the future. And more complicated things too, once we get the basics down. So until next week, I'm the Reverend Jay Goldstein. Ta-da!
Today we're going to look at drawing a human heart for IB Diploma Biology. By now we should know heart is 2 pumps side by side, and there are 4 chambers. One side pumps just to the lungs. The other side pumps to the whole body. So obviously the whole body side must be bigger and stronger. And this is where they start to give you marks for IB Diploma Bio. Start off by drawing a flat-topped circle. It's about the shape of a heart. And then add 2 construction lines. We know the top half or the 2 atria are much smaller. We know the side that pumps to the whole body is much bigger than the side that just pumps to your lungs. Now the side that pumps to your whole body is the left side. When you look at something, the left side is on your right. So when we label them, it's actually back the front to what you think. The left is on the right is on the left. We now have to draw entry and exit points. Entry point here, and the exit points coming out from the bottom. That's not very neat. Let's actually try and get our thicknesses consistent. That's the sort of area that gives you marks. We can now add wall thicknesses. The left side has a really thick wall. If you ever dissect a heart, you'll see that it's just a huge, thick, muscular wall. It pumps to the whole body. The right-hand side, on the other hand, is much thinner. It only has to pump next door to your lungs. Now this is where the IB starts to give marks. Left side, bigger than right side. Top, smaller than bottom. Thicker muscle on the left than the right. At this point we can lose our construction lines, and we've pretty much got most of what we need. The last thing we need to add are some valves that stop the backflow of the blood when it's going. So these are like little doors. Anytime a muscle contracts, these are pushed closed, stopping backflow. And there'll be a couple of ligaments just holding these in place. The last thing you need to add would be the labels. We have the 2 atria at the top and the ventricles below. We can then label the vessels at the top. So our blood vessels are labelled, and we can label the valves. And like with any biological drawing, any label lines should be ruled. So here is a human heart that should get you all the marks you need for IB Diploma. You could add blood flow, and that's where I shouldn't have drawn it in red, because we usually use red blood to show oxygenated and blue blood to show deoxygenated. So the blood coming into the left should be oxygenated. It's come from the lungs, into here, down to here, and out to the body. Blood coming back into the other side comes into the top, the right atrium, down to the right ventricle, back out to the lungs where it gets oxygen. A lot of students actually get confused about the double circulation, the one side being oxygenated and the other side not. So if I draw a very badly drawn heart here, 2 parallel pumps, smaller pump on the right, and then we use colours. We have to draw in some lungs. Okay, they're not really here. This is a schematic diagram. Here is the whole body, I guess, except the lungs. Oxygenated blood comes from the lungs and goes into the left. We use red for oxygenated blood. So the blood goes into the left, through the left, out to the whole body. From the whole body, the oxygen gets used up. We call this blue blood. It comes back and into the right. Blood goes through the right and back to the lungs. So what we find is for one circuit through the body, the blood goes through